Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Catalyst webinar series. My name is Blake Jurgis, PGA Director of Player Development at Coda Casa and the Education Chair for the Southern California PGA Education Committee. Thank you for joining us today. And today's Catalyst is proudly brought to you by the presenting partner, DRS, Digital Revenue Systems, helping facilities elevate their member experience through premium digital signage designed for golf, fitness, and wellness environments. To learn more, visit digitalrevsystems.com. It is my pleasure to introduce today's featured speaker, Dr. Beth Brown. Now, Dr. Brown, she serves as the Senior Athlete Development Specialist for the USGA, where she leads the development of athlete pathways, coach education, parent education, talent identification, and player development plans for athletes within the U.S. National Development Program. Her work is helping create a clear pathway for athletes progress from competitive junior golf to the highest levels of the game. In addition to her work with the USGA, Beth serves as the liaison to the LPGA professionals as a Class A LPGA professional. And in 2025, she was recognized as an LPGA Junior Golf Leader of the Year, an award that celebrates professionals who are making a significant impact on the growth and development of junior golf through innovation and excellence in coaching. Today, we're excited to hear Beth's insights on athlete development, talent identification, coaching education, and just supporting the next generation of golfers. And please join me in welcoming Dr. Beth Brown. And please, everyone on this call, this is an interactive call. I would love it. And Beth and I have talked about it already. If you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat box. She'll be happy to answer all questions necessary. And this is going to be a fun conversation, and so excited for this chat with you, Beth. And why don't you take it away? Let's do it.
Awesome. Thanks, Blake. Well, I wasn't nervous until I listened to you talk. You sound so professional, like you have a career in TV and radio broadcast or something along with your golf expertise. And congrats to you on your award in the past year or so as the Southern Cal leader with junior golf. It's really an honor to be here. And although I'm not a PGA member, it is on my bucket list. So I've been talking with Anthony Vitale. I'd love to become one of those dual LPGA, PGA of America members. Have lots of friends and colleagues that are members of PGA of America. So have just a great respect for you and everybody who's joining us today. And really just want to just let you know how grateful I am for this opportunity, grateful that you and others are sharing their time. I just want to give just a little bit of a layout of the land. Blake alluded to, if I can get this, let's see if I can get the screen to go to the next, there we go, that we want to have as interactive session as possible and open up to questions. But we thought it would be helpful to really structure it with three kind of frames. The first one is I'm just going to chat a little bit about the USNDP background. And one thing I want to say up front is you're going to learn more about how the PGA of America is a vital part of the United States National Program's ecosystem. And so we'll dig into that as we get into the second segment. But after each segment, we're going to pause. Blake's going to be pushing you guys for some questions. He might ask a couple of his own. Then we'll go to the second segment, which will be more about that collaboration. You'll be able to see maybe some of your colleagues' involvement, some of the PJ section's involvement. Again, try to keep some questions around that topic. And then kind of going with the title of today is, did you know how this collaboration can actually elevate your junior golfers? So again, we're not here. There was rumors beginning when this started about 4 years ago that the USGA and the United States National Development Program was trying to take over PGA and LPGA members' kids, right? And we are not doing that at all. We know that some countries do that where they go and kind of start cherry picking kids, and that is absolutely not what we're doing. Is we're looking to provide additional resources, additional opportunities, collaborate with athletes, instructors, and we'll talk more about that, how you can help elevate your athletes. So that'll be the flow, and then I think Blake's going to open it up to some additional questions as well at the end. So let's start off with this first segment. You know, what is the background? And when we first rolled this out, this started and officially was announced, I believe, in February 2023. Heather Daly Donofrio is our leader that Mike Wan brought on. She formerly at the LPGA. And really, as it started being announced, people were like, well, why did you wait so long? We're like, well, why not now? We haven't done it before. We're doing it now. And I think this is just me off the record, even though this is recorded, saying that with my background in the golf industry, 25 plus years, that I think it's because so many organizations like the PGA of America and PGA professionals have done such a tremendous job in golf. You know, we were the only sport of significance that's in the Olympics in the United States that did not have a developmental pathway. As far as we can find out, we're the only country in the world that has golf in the Olympics that did not have a developmental pathway. And so again, it's because organization were doing such a great job that I don't think this was started sooner. Blake waved his finger at me. I think
Uh,
that's
sh-
our signal.
share the. Can you share your screen really quick?
Am I? Oh,
Not shared yet. Not shared yet.
oh wow! It's showing that I'm
Don't worry.
sharing.
It's
Okay.
okay.
Let me stop. I'm going to stop sharing it. I had to, and then I'll. That's weird. It's not coming through. Maybe when you started the recording.
Yeah.
Let's try that. Are you
Perfect. There we
seeing?
go.
Oh wow. I wish you'd raise your finger sooner.
You
So
got it. You got
anyway,
it. You nailed it.
anyway, here we are. Yeah, did you know? And I got to get over where I can click. There we go. And again, here's the flow, and we're going to start with this first section, the background. And so, like I said, why not now? And again, I think my personal opinion is because there's so many great groups, especially the PGA of America, doing a great job in junior golf in the US. And so again, what we're working is to create continuity, right, as kids progress through the pathway and collaborate with others. You can see one of the confusing things, I was even confused, even probably my first year, and finally now after 3 years have some clarity. The second bullet is there is an organization called USA Golf, and that is the official national governing body under the USOPC, which is the United States Olympic and Paralympic Committee. But they don't do player development. The PGA of America has a representative on there. The USGA has a representative. USA Golf was started back to get, as golf got back in the Olympics in 2016, that it was required to have this kind of business structure, if you will. So that's USA Golf, and that's why it's there, and they basically support the Olympics and the Pan American Games. So we're providing development, and you can see I've already talked about those other reasons why now, right? Why the USGA has started the United States National Development Program. Again, a collaboration to help bring together and create a kind of a continuous and smooth pipeline and pathway for athletes and families to get to the highest levels. So as we go to the next slide here, here's our vision and mission. I just always think it's important to show it, not to totally beat it in the ground. But our vision is to foster future generations of American golf talent. What does that look like? It looks like Nelly Korda, winning the Women's US Open. It looks like more Americans, men and women, at the top of the leaderboard at the highest levels. And how are we going to do that? I didn't put the entire mission on here, but you can see it's, again, creating this pathway, mitigating some financial burdens. You're going to learn about grant opportunities for athletes that you're coaching and their families. And then my big role, I had to put this part in here, this fostering a positive and healthy pathway. You're going to hear us talk about this holistic approach to athlete development, which my guess is that many of you are doing most of, if not all of, already. And just to lay out the goals and objectives, and then we're going to dig into some specifics, but you can see there's 6 pillars, if you will, behind the U.S. National Development Program. Heather and the leadership at the USGA had put these in place before I even started. And you can see I just alluded to that first, the top left box, that we want to ensure that American golf is global leader in elite junior, amateur, and the professional game. As you go across the top, providing this clear pathway that I talked about, you're going to see the levels as we go through this, and then strengthen and broaden and diversify the junior golf pipeline. So we know that girls golf, for example, is growing, right? But we're not seeing that translate to more women at the highest level. So what's going on there? And then bottom left, this talent identification piece. And again, you're going to learn how you can self-nominate, if you will, some of your kids to get them on our radar. You heard me talk about the middle of the bottom there, that pillar is that financial support. Again, that may be what some of your athletes or your young people need, is they just need more money to be able to go play. They've got the resources there with you and the other team around them. And then you can see established national, junior, and amateur teams to represent USA in international competitions. This weekend, our head coach, Coach Zambri, and our assistant coach, Coach Joe, they're taking, I think it's 6 elite amateurs and 1 or 2 of our national juniors to the British women's amateur over in Scotland. So these are what's kind of behind some of the practical things that we're going to talk about today. And so Blake's seen this before. And so as you think about all those things I just shared, I want to say up front that this is a marathon, not a sprint. And I am saying we are starting mile 4 of this 26-mile adventure. And this includes building and implementing our philosophy around athlete development, our culture. Then kind of we're in these foundational stages of creating developmentally appropriate programs or building off of other things that are already created. And at the center of this is our athlete development blueprint. You can see at the bottom, everything we do is really powered to develop athletes who thrive. And thrive is basically it's nothing new, but the packaging maybe is, right? It's holistic athlete development. So everything we do, the decisions we make, all the support we're providing, any programs we're developing, any training that we're doing, we're hitting on T, training. It's first for a reason because that includes technical, tactical, and transfer to performance. So without somebody being able to even pick up a club and know what to do well with it, right? They're not going to be able to do anything else. So T is first for a reason. And then health is the mental game, right? Mental health, strength and conditioning, nutrition, all of those things. Relationships is an athlete really having the self-awareness to know themselves, to lead themselves on and off the golf course, and how to have healthy relationships with their instructors, with their caddies, with their family members. Individual development is all those things around goal setting, around knowing where am I at, what do I need to do if I want to keep progressing, and really taking ownership of their own game as they progress. Values is everything around, what is our culture, some of our values. We have 6 values. Competitiveness is one, USA Spirit is one, and really living those values. They're not just hanging on a wall. And last is equipment. Beyond golf balls and golf clubs is just think of this as anything, technology and other, that can help accelerate athlete development. And as you see that red ribbon in the golf ball running through those letters, what it means is that these domains aren't mutually exclusive. Like we can't separate the mind, the body, the spirit, all those things of an athlete, but we need places we can house content and curriculum and programs. And so hence we have developing athletes who thrive. And as you can see here, we have 5 levels in our program, starting at the state level, progressing up to the young professional. We have 4 different stakeholders, with athletes being the center: athletes, parents, coaches, and one-day formal mentors. And you can see the blue arrow there running up the 3 lower levels of the program. We have grant athletes there because we have about 30% of our state level team members are grant athletes. We have 5 of our national junior team are grant athletes. And so I'm just going to take a breath and pause there because I want to just give you a couple of numbers here. We met with the PGA of America. We're collaborating at a national level, and we know you guys like numbers. And so just to give you a few numbers behind these levels, where we're at and where we're going when everything's fully baked out. At the state level, right now we have 284 athletes, and I'll get to the states in a second. When it's all built out, we'll have 800. And these athletes at this level are typically, we're starting at 13 and older, so they're 13 to 18. They're 2.4 or lower handicap for boys and 5.4 or lower for girls, typically. That just gives you a little bit of a feel. Who are these athletes at the state level? Right? So they're already elite athletes and they're 13 and older. Regional level, we don't have a formal regional level yet, but we do have people working with regional prospects because we don't have athletes in every state right now. And we have about 90 regional level athletes when it's fully baked out, 400. These are kids that are typically top 200 in Junior Golf Scoreboard, and they're top 20 in their graduating class across the country. The national junior level, we have 24 national junior level team members, and this is the level that Coach Sambry and Coach Joe are coming in, and we have a couple of camps a year. We had an international match this year with Sweden. We're doing some other things with these kids. These kids are typically 14 or 15 to 18, and they're top 50 Junior Golf Scoreboard, typically top in their state, right? So we have 24 now, and 5 years from now or so, we'll have 30. At the national amateur, elite amateur level, these are ages 18 to 24, basically college age, right? Top 20 in WAGR, top 100 in WAGR. And right now we have 10 of these athletes, seven or 8 girls and 2 or 3 guys. And 20 is the future build out. And then last but not least, the young pro level. This is our first year. We have 4. They're all females right now. That's where we're hurting in the world rankings. We have right now, I think it's only 13 in the top 100 and 49 guys out in the top 100. So we're starting off with a little extra focus on the girls at that top level. When it's fully built out, probably 100. And these are, again, usually top 500 in the OWGR and Rolex. So
And these
that
are
gives
the
you
and
a little feel. But yeah, that's really kind of the background. So Blake, yeah, go ahead. I'd love if there's some questions, you
yeah.
know. a lot of stuff there. So hopefully there's some questions or you may have some thoughts on that as well.
Yeah, so I know this has obviously been a newer program. We'll say it started how long ago now? It's
It
been
was
four,
officially
three
announced in
years.
February of 2023.
Okay, yeah, so about 3 years
Yeah.
now, and it's been cool to see. And is the idea is that the junior golfers that can, and for people I don't know, I'm actually the USNDP state team coach for Southern California or Team California now. So the idea is that we have the state kids, and then they would hopefully move through the ranks. Maybe one of those top 20
hmm
kids or top 10 kids from the state level move on to the national junior level. Then those national junior level kids basically graduate, which I believe we have how many? We have a lot from California, if I'm mistaken, on the national level.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, there's 24
with
kids. They're going to
we
throw
have
it
like
out like Jaden Song is on. We have probably six of them,
yep, and
at
then
least
obviously
six, I
Astra
would say.
Talley, Ronnie
Yeah,
Banerjee. So we have a lot of
yeah.
kids on the national team there from Southern California. Those kids graduate to go to college. They go and they are, and then the elite amateur level, which is like your college, you still USAM kind of players, and then your young pro level. Are the people in the elite amateur level and the young pro level, did they start at the national junior level, or
That's a
were they kind of recruited at that starting
That's a
point?
great question. So one day, most all of the funnel will supply as it runs up from the bottom to the top. But right now, because we're just getting started, that's not necessarily the case. So we have a couple of the girls, like Gianna Clement is at the lead amateur level. She started off in the national junior. Klovalevsky, excuse me, was on the national junior. She's now in the lead am. We have there's a couple that basically more and more of them are starting to progress. But for example, there's some young professionals, that haven't been at the other levels, right? Because we haven't had enough athletes to build up. So right now, some of them are recruited. Some of them are coming from the bottom, working their way up. One day, most of them will come from the bottom and work their way up, right? The pipeline will be built out. We don't have a formal regional level yet. But there were five of our 24 on the national junior team this year came from state teams last year. One day they'll come likely more from regional. It doesn't mean that kids won't leapfrog, right? Especially guys, late bloomers, more of those on the guys side. And so, but that is the idea is that for the most part, you all at this ground level working PGA of America members, teaching locally or in your state, right? PGA Junior League, all those things, you can start to identify athletes, encourage them to play onto their state teams if they're not already, and then just continuing to progress. And again, we're not trying to replace those coaches, but to provide these opportunities like these girls that are going to the British Am or guys that might go to the Canadian Amateur, stuff like that.
Yeah, it's awesome. I love that. Really cool.
Yeah, great question. Are there any other questions, Blake, on the background that you're seeing there?
Not at this time. Not
Okay,
at
I
this
think
time.
the
So
next topic is probably going to stir up some more because it's really connected, right? If we look at state junior teams, so you see that bottom rung, or that tier one, if you will, for the U.S. National Development Program. I keep thinking I'm going to ask you to go to the next slide, and I've got control. There we go. We already talked about some questions. There's some of our guys. By the way, the two on the right you'll see playing this morning or this afternoon. I don't know when Rory's teeing off, but um, Mason Howell. And actually, I don't know if they're both playing. They played a practice round together, is what I should say. Hamilton was the U.S. Junior Champion, actually out of Georgia. Mason on the far right, U.S. Amateur Champion out of Georgia. And then we have Luke Colton there putting, the lefty. He's from Texas. But I saw yesterday a clip on Instagram with Rory teeing off a practice round with the two young men, the U.S. Junior and U.S. Amateur Champion. So pretty cool.
yeah, it's awesome.
So yeah, let's go to this. The USNDP and PGA of America collaboration and really leading with the state junior teams, right? This is one of our state junior teams. It looks like that's your
That's our
team.
junior
Yeah,
team.
I see
That was
Mia. There's
that was from
Mia.
last year. Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
there's Mia Clausen on the far left, who's now in the national junior. And we should see where's Jaden is in there. I don't
Yeah,
see.
Ron.
Is Ronnie?
No, I
No.
think Ronnie's on the national level at that time.
Yeah, Jaden should be in there. I'm not sure where he is. But anyway, he might not have been there. But yeah, the state junior team program, just a little bit of the why and then getting into like the collaborative part of it, what PJ is already doing and what you can do. But this program back before I started, as you all know, there's allied golf associations across the country that are part of the USGA, and we have your Southern California. Golf Association there. And so Heather Daly, Donna Frio, mine and Coach Zambry's boss and some others met with these allied golf associations all over the country and said, hey, we're going to start this. We think we want to start with this regional level. What do you guys think? And they're like, oh no, we need to start with the state level. We know our athletes in the states, right? And so basically that's the very short version of how we ended up starting at the state level because allied golf associations, uh, the PGA sections, everybody knows your athletes. We don't know those people. And so it's this idea. Here's kind of three things behind the program. The why is we wanted to create this developmentally appropriate aspirational pathway for athletes to play at higher levels. We see kids that are parents are mortgaging houses, right? Selling off things to fund their kids to play all over the country. And not to say there aren't some cases where maybe that's the thing to do, but more often than not, what we see is kids could benefit from playing in their state. And I know there's great tournaments, the Toyota Cup. I may not be saying the exact right title,
You
right?
got it.
But I know you guys are known for just a tremendous junior golf in Southern California. And so, but there are other states where kids aren't staying and playing where they could, and it would be beneficial on a variety of levels. So we wanted to create this aspirational pathway. And over time, younger kids can aspire to play in their state and then progress, like you were getting to, Blake. Right now, there's kids that have already kind of leapfrogged, if you will, over the state junior team, right? And so that's where some of this everything's new is happening. And so, but it will evolve. We wanted to give opportunity to strengthen junior golf programming within each state. Again, it's probably not the case in SoCal. It's so strong, but in other states, many other states, this can be helpful. I'm from Oklahoma. I think it could be helpful here. Diversifying this pipeline, right, where we can identify kids from diverse groups and start to give them a place to grow into and play with funding and stuff. And then, of course, this is coming from a big push for me. This, again, part of our culture is creating this mindset of competing with rather than competing against to increase the level of performance for all athletes, right? We can be on the same team and we can all make each other better. And I mean, I'm a girl, so I can say this. We see this more often with dudes, right? That they want to beat each other's brains in and then they're buddies. And we see it typically less often on the female side. And that's the culture we want to create. So like when we do our camps, we have girls and guys together. We want them to be able to learn and help make each other better. And this is the part I think then that you all start to find most interesting because it's like now it gets real. Like how does it relate to us in our state? And this is our state map. You can see California is in blue, and the Navy states are our 24 and 2025 states. These are the states that it takes 2 years. The first year you're building a committee. You're building out the point structure for how kids are going to play their way onto the team. And year two is when there's real human beings there with camps and webinars, team building, et cetera. And so it's this 2 year journey. So those 2024 and 2025 states all have athletes this year, right? And so there's 16 states there with about 284 athletes that's happening this year. By next year, these 26 states will activate, right? Where they'll have athletes. So we'll have about 500 athletes next year in 30 states. And then in 2027, you can see the yellow states. Right now, those states will start, will start to build their committees next year and activate athletes in 2028. You can see I think there should be about, I think there's 8 light blue states left, right? And so those light blue states, there's some discussions that are still happening, but all in all, we're anticipating, especially with the Masters tournament charities coming on board, which I'm sure many or most of you have heard about. That's 1.5 million over 3 years that's been committed, and all of that going to state junior team programs for athlete development only. And that means to help compensate coaches, people that are helping with the programs. And so we're super excited about this. So by 2028, we anticipate having all 50 states on board, again, in large part thanks to support from the Masters tournament charities. This is where we can even see a few names here I should have highlighted, right? But if we start at the top, we have our National Athlete Development Advisory Group. That's a group that I lead of about 24 people that are providing us insight and guidance. This started in 2024. I started this group about 6 months after I came on board in June of 23. And you can see some of your colleagues listed there. They're providing advice on all things related to athlete coaching, athlete and program development. And then we have state junior team coaches, and that's where you'll see Blake's name listed. John and Brianna from Southern California are 3 Southern California state junior team coaches. There's other PGA members who aren't listed here that are involved, but they're not officially a coach. And you can see the PGA sections there, and you'll see Northern and Southern California PGA sections. So all in all, we have about 30 plus PGA sections that are involved. We have 50 plus PGA of America members, and this is growing. Remember, we're just in mile 4 of 26. And so, what it's important to know as you think about the state junior team is we're giving a lot of latitude to these state junior team programs, right? I mean, there's certain things, there's agreements, there's certain things they have to do, but there's a little bit of structure with a lot of flexibility. But part of the structure that's required is this integration of PJ sections with the Allied Golf Association. So the USGA intentionally created this state team system that would include PGA sections and lean into PGA coaches. That's the primary message. And so I'll pause there. That's really the gist of the state junior team. Blake, I don't know if you have some questions to help start or just clarify anything based upon what
Yeah.
you know and your involvement. You could even share a little bit if you wanted about what's happening in SoCal, if you think that would be interesting to the folks.
Yeah, I want to ask a question and kind of going back into the thrive aspect of things. And I don't know if we, I don't know if you want to, I think when you look at about thrive, anything about the training, the health, the relationships, the individual development, the values, and the equipment. Um, I think it's with, and maybe you can clarify this a little bit more, but like we know that training is obviously important. So all the coaches or and head professionals or directors of golf that are on this call, we know that the training, the technician, and the tactical parts are very, very valuable and important. Um, Obviously, the health, individual development for sure. That's kind of like within your sports psychology or the health, the fitness training, or maybe it's a nutrition or mental game, whatever it may be. But I think what happens in golf, what misses so much, which I think is why this program is so successful, is the relationships aspect of things. You know, like the team aspect. Golf can be such an individual sport,
Hmm.
and I know that other countries already have a national team, and we know that the United States obviously has a great junior tours. They have great programs already that before the NDP US NDP team already started, which I think is why it's kind of taking the US of maybe a little bit longer to create a national team because we have such great programs. But
Absolutely,
maybe
yeah.
and then maybe within the USGA, and I'm not sure if it's true or not true, with the lack uh, of our like Ryder Cup or Solheim Cup, right? And we think about how we struggle in some of those team events. Do you feel like within that is why USGA has kind of been pushing more for this team building, this team atmosphere within our elite junior amateurs, and soon to be professionals?
Yeah, I mean, well, absolutely. I mean, one we know, and there's research behind things around, having healthy relationships and how that could impact, performance. And, getting crushed at some of these team events is certainly a motivating factor, right? An external motivating factor. We just saw, I mean, the Curtis Cup was just down there in SoCal.
Yeah.
You're getting lots of activity. We had five of our US NDP program members, either national junior with asterisk tally, and then four of our elite amateur females were comprised five of that 8-person team. And you saw the 7-5 score, in the team, the 2-day team part. And then, it took a bit, but then they ended up running away a little bit, with the individual. So certainly, I think that's one of the motivating factors. We're integrating team play into our camps. We're playing this one international friendly match a year. National junior team members are, and we're doing foursomes, four balls, and singles, right? And so yeah, you're spot on, Blake, and I just agree with everything that you said.
Yeah, and
You're not you're
it's
not paying me to say that either, so.
no, no, I appreciate that. No, but I think it like as a state team coach and within my experience so far, I mean, I know this is kind of a newer thing too within this over the next like this last year and the previous years have been a newer thing, and it's still a learning process. I know that we're still in the beginning phases of things, and I think when I look back at our team camp that we had at Rolling Hills, and Coach John supported us over there with and Brian and I, and we had our captains there. We had everyone there, and it was a fantastic experience. One of my junior golfers, um, who I actually personally coach, is on our state team, and we chat all the time about kind of like just our development and stuff like that. But like we talk about that one camp we ran 2 months ago still, and we're like, oh my gosh, how great was it? How great was the camp? How great was it to have elite juniors with each other? Like and like just everyone
Yeah.
from the top in the state, um, and being able to kind of work on the thrive aspect of things, being able to work on all areas. When um, we had Coach Sean actually with the national team
Yeah.
come and support us from a health wise and giving us the fitness part of things and the nutrition and just the relationships um, and within. I mean, I had a conversation with all these juniors, and I know that our whole team did, and I know that that one camp was an impactful experience for them to remember for a lifetime. That I think that can push them forward to getting better or to even knowing that, hey, being on a team is valuable and it is important and it's we want to carry that badge of USA and the flag on our bags, and we want to represent the United States. And I think being able to have it from a state team level, not just like I think it's great from a national team level, just because it's, hey, they're on the nationwide spectrum, but like seeing that we have almost every state committed over the next few years to really bring in the best junior golfers, it's going to show, I think, where all these amateur events are going to start having these team events and being able to contribute into obviously the pro level events. And I think we'll see a lot of our national junior golfers and our elite amateur level players that are going to be playing at that highest level, and
Yeah.
especially in
Yeah.
a team event.
But I think what you said that strikes me, and just to reinforce for the others on the call, John, Blake, that's our joke. Just so everybody knows, I started calling Blake John at the thing, and it's still hanging with me. So Blake, I think that the state level though, it's that this foundation, to me, it's the most important, right? Like you guys are building the foundation for what the future of American golf looks like, right? And so to get more PGA members involved who are have obviously great expertise and have a passion for helping young people. But I think being part of this team culture is huge. The other thing that you made me think of is a lot of the feedback that we heard early on, and this again more so on the women's side than the men, but we know like 44% of Power Four schools in this past year had American girls on their roster. 44%. And one of the things that those college coaches were saying is that, we recruit internationally. One of the big things that's different, beside those kids are more independent, they've traveled internationally, they've done stuff, is that they're better teammates, right? And so creating this team culture at the state level, I think that'll be a selling point for your state junior team athletes to say, hey, I was part of Team SoCal, Team California. I know what it's like to be a great teammate. I know what it's like to compete with and not be happy that my teammate beat my butt, but be happy that they're doing well and they're helping me get better. And next time I'm going to get them, right? So that's
Yeah, this is
see, I
great.
knew you'd keep it real.
Of course. I mean,
Yeah.
this is the I mean, this obviously is close to home for me, and being able to contribute to the bigger picture and within the USA team. And I believe that even the kids that are on our team, and we're still working things out as the state team level, that like I know the other state team levels are still working out. And I know that the collaboration that we have with all of our coaches is important, and to be able to work together as a team, just from a coaching side of things, and with you and I, and with obviously Mo and I are pretty close now with her being close by, and we just have some good representation for Team USA.
That's awesome. Are you seeing any other? You're probably hitting on a lot of people's questions, but any others in there,
Yeah, yeah.
John?
So I got a question right here. Yep. So it's so what is unique about the USGA with trying to develop that separates it from what is already available to advanced juniors?
Yeah, that's a great question, Blake. So again, I think these additional funding, additional paid trips to international travel, opportunities to have like elite consultant, our consultants like Dr. Harry Sessi, who's travels with John Rahm and others. That doesn't mean they would take over for a local strength coach. I mean, if there isn't a local strength coach, kids are getting this level of resource. Rob Yang, who's working with elite athletes all over the world in nutrition, so they're getting access to these elite resources. Even like our grant athletes, they can come on to webinars. State junior team can come on to webinars and hear some of these national consultants speak and get resources from them and ask them questions, even though they might not get to work with them personally. And so just I think additional resources, financial, human resources and otherwise. And then again, this team culture, like you were already talking about. And so I think, and then this continuous pathway where there's things they can aspire to as they kind of move on down the pathway or on up the pathway.
And I think from the state team level too, it prepares them for college. I think you said earlier
Yeah.
about the 44% of the girls' side is USA, and I think and the boys actually a little bit more, I believe. I
It's
think it's like
more,
in the
yeah.
like
I think we're
70 or
seeing,
80.
yeah, but D2 is where I have some friend guys that are coaching D2 men's golf, and that's where like it seems it's kind of the similar numbers. I mean, I could be off. I'm speaking a little bit off here, but I do know that there's a huge percentage at those, D2, D3 that are international guys, so it hasn't quite got there. We are seeing the numbers gradually dropping on the men's side. We think it's about 10 years behind what's happened on the women's. And so we're hoping to just nip that in the bud with everything that we're doing.
Yeah, and within that within the colleges part of it, and you think of the state team levels and they getting support from like a team environment. I think that kind of can showcase the junior golfers that hey, they can play in a team. Rather than
Yes.
it's like because we got emailed actually during our state team call from multiple coaches uh requesting information about the individual that is on our state team. So these college coaches
Hmm.
are recognizing that these even the state team, obviously the national level is a different category, but like the state team level, if your junior golfers are on it, they're going to get recognized from colleges a little bit more often as well.
I think I agree totally. So yeah, hopefully that addressed that question. Great question though. Any others there, or do we want to go to the last section here? It
Yeah,
just
we go
it
last section.
really just kind of building on some of the things we talked about, but getting into some of the details. So we've alluded to how this can elevate your junior golfers, but here's three, specific ways, and again, we don't have to belabor them. I'm just looking here to see what we may have already talked about. But the first way is to help your athletes aspire to be part of their state junior team, to let them know, like, hey, here's some possibilities. And so, the people on this call, the men and women on this call, these professionals, you can play a really important role in terms of preparing your athletes to pursue state junior team opportunities. So, reaching out to Blake, reaching out to John, or reaching out to Brianna, and learning from them and saying, hey, I've got these kids. What do they need to do? Right. So I think that's going to be hugely important. And so, I mean, you've got obviously Blake is a great resource, but you can go on to your Allied Golf Association, the Southern California Golf Association website, see what the criteria are right now because everything's new. Again, mile 4 of a marathon, right? Those criteria are being reviewed and updated and kind of perfected, if you will, each year, right? As states are learning, you can let your athletes know about the state junior team and the parents, right? And you can follow them on social media. I don't know what your handles are or whatnot, John, but I don't know if you want to put that. I mean, you're going to kill me later, Blake,
No,
but
it's fine. You're good.
put it in the chat, right? So you can follow on social media. You can follow at a national level if you want and share with kids. USNDP Golf, particularly on Instagram, Twitter. Those are kind of the two big places. USNDP Golf. Um, and so anyway, I think that we've already talked about some of the reasons why it matters, visibility, like Blake was saying, for college coaches, access to high level development opportunities, competitive experiences, and really this connection to a national development pathway. And so I think for those of you that are really focused on junior golf, and I'm guessing many of you are on here because you are, this is really just an opportunity for you to further establish yourself as a trusted leader in junior athlete development.
Yeah, I think a
So,
lot of people on this call too. I see a lot of directors of golf and GMs actually and head pros. It's we know that we have a lot of clubs in Southern California with top level junior golfers, and I know that you may know their parents, you may know the junior golfer, whether you coach
mhm.
them or don't coach them, that part doesn't matter. But being able to support them and being able to give them the resources and that access into what this program offers. Um, there is a be very clear, I'm not a USGA employee whatsoever. I'm actually just a volunteer for this whole thing, right? And I think there is a cool partnership that the PGA and the USGA is putting together that makes this program so successful. And I think as PGA members, I think we can really understand the value of how we can really just improve the lives of others, especially with our young junior golfers. And I know
Mm-hmm.
this is just Southern California focus, but I think next year I think we're gonna have 40 kids on Team California, and I believe 24 of them are gonna be Team Southern California. So I mean, we're very blessed with just the opportunities I think Southern California offers with weather and golf courses and tournament play and all things considered. But I think people on this call can really we'll make sure that we send this slide over to everybody as well in an email the
Mm-hmm.
next day or so, just so that you have this information.
Yeah, because you can see there, and I know we want to stop for just some other questions, but the other two things I won't dig into, but you'll have the links that you can help families access the USNDP grant opportunities. I will say that, this year we're going to distribute 1.1 million in grants to junior golfers across 32 states. These are generally in the range of 10 to $15,000 to families that they can use. That, of course, there's certain criteria that need to be met, but they can use them for tournaments, for travel to tournaments, for coaching, to take a putting lesson from Coach Blake, and you guys for a variety of things, to hire somebody to coach them in strength and conditioning specifically for golf. So there's some money there. You'll be able to click on that link, and there's some frequently asked questions and some more information. That the grant application for 2027 will open on or around July 15th this year. So you guys are got a heads up right now. So about a month from now, that application is going to open. And as long as a young person is turning 13 in 2013 and by January of 2027, when the grant funding is allocated, they can apply. So they could even be 12 right now, turning 13. The third thing there too is just you guys being able to help get your athletes on our radar. And when you click on that link, there's actually a resume. I mean, kids can copy and paste their stuff in, and they can actually submit that resume. So you can share this information with those folks, with your, if, like you said, Blake, if there's directors of golf and GMs and people on here, getting this in the hands of your coaches who are working with athletes, they can get it in the hands of families, or if you're at a private club, putting that into your monthly member newsletter or something where you can get this information out. Because basically, a kid, him or herself, parents, coaches can all just go right on there and fill out that resume form. And we do see those. I mean, like there's people calling through those for certain things, but Coach Zamber and I will be pulled in with different kids. So there's just a great way to nominate those kids that you know of, that you think, we at least need to start looking at. They may not be there yet, but certainly get them on our radar. So I'm going to stop there and just, I mean, we're going to share all this information. If people did want to, the QR code that is there just takes you straight to the main USNDP junior page. So you at least could do that right now if you want to check that out. That goes to the main page. But when Blake shares out this PowerPoint, you'll be able to click on those specific links. But this QR code will take you where everything is housed. So I don't know where we're at on time, Blake, but if you want to follow up with any questions or anything else that you wanted me to share, I'm happy to do so. Just really, again, really thankful to be here today.
Yeah, it looks like nothing at the moment. So I think we can close this out.
Awesome. Well, again, just thanks to everybody. Blake, thanks so much for doing this. I don't know if folks know, but Blake's actually on his vacation and taking this time, and just really appreciate you being such a great ambassador for what we're doing. And again, being clear, the Blake doesn't work for us. He's volunteering there along with John and Brianna, and we're just super grateful for what they're doing there with the SoCal and the state junior team. So thanks so much, Blake.
Yeah, thank you. And also too, I forgot to mention it is Women's Golf Month, by the way. And I mean, think about
Oh,
how we had the US Open at Riviera with, I mean, one of the phenomenal events that we had with Nelly Korda winning that
crazy.
tournament, and that 2 foot 10-inch putt, and having the Curtis Cup at Bel Air, and seeing that whole thing progress. And it's like the ladies in Southern California, and just like the whole Women's Golf Month has been such a blast so far. And we had Dr. Beth, we had a couple of other LPGA, PGA women professionals actually speak a couple of weeks ago. So that's where I think seeing the ladies and representing them in June, but hopefully the whole year, honestly. Many of you guys know I have 3 daughters myself, so I feel like I live in this world right now, and probably forever. And it's pretty cool to see, And thank you again, Dr. Beth, for just your contribution and your um, and just way that you've handled yourself throughout this whole time. I mean, we spent a lot of time together in Arizona, and how much fun I had with our interactions, and how much I've learned over the this past year. So I want to say thank you so much, and thank you for all the presenters or all the people that have attended this call today.
Yeah,
Um,
thanks so
any
much,
final
Blake. Yeah,
words?
it's an honor. Yeah, I just, it's gonna take all of us, right? There's an old proverb that says something like, you can go faster alone, you can go farther together, and so, we want to go together. So just thanks to everyone, thanks to you, Blake, and all the other PJ members and everybody that's working with the young people in Southern California. We really do have a great opportunity here to go far together, and so I'm thankful for that.
Yeah, thank you. All right. Thank you everybody for the call, and we'll see you again in a couple weeks. Bye.
Bye, everyone.